Hello everyone. I guess in this video I'd like to acknowledge the murders of Tamir Rice, who was killed by Timothy Loman, Trayvon Martin, who was killed by George Zimmerman, Erica Garner, who was killed by Daniel Pantaleo, and Walter Scott, who was also murdered by another police officer, Michael Slager. Now, George Zimmerman was not a police officer. However, all of these victims have one thing in common. They were killed for being black. Okay? Now, I'm making this video to make it clear to everyone that I know that this was racially fueled. And the ones that piss me off the most are the Michael Slager and George Zimmerman case, simply because George Zimmerman followed and stalked this child. And yeah, 15 years old, I don't care if you're 6'4" or whatever, and I don't care how big you are. And I've met 15-year-olds that are huge. And that doesn't excuse you stalking them because you think they're up to no good, because they're walking in the middle of the fucking night. Now, Trayvon was scared for his life. You know, I think anyone can notice the same car driving by you over and over and over, and then finally, he could probably see the driver. George Zimmerman called the police department, and the operator told him, "Look, man, you need to stop following that kid. Well, what the hell are you doing?" George Zimmerman's trapped in his delusion, went ahead, got out of his car, and confronted the kid that he was stalking. Now, a lot of you cowards out there are probably going to justify this murder, saying that, oh, but he was slamming his head against the sidewalk. Good. You know what? I wish he killed George Zimmerman. I wish he slammed his head over and over and over until it was nothing but a bloody pulp. I wish I could personally have George Zimmerman in front of me right now, hand to hand, but I know he's going to be a little bitch, say that, oh, I fear for my life, and pull out a gun on me too, because he's a coward. He's a fucking piece of shit coward. He murdered a young boy that he was stalking. Now, if your argument with me is going to be anything along the lines of, what if it was you getting your head slammed against the sidewalk over and over? Guess what? I would actually stand up because I am that strong. I'm not going to let a 15-year-old stay on top of me. No one has ever been able to remain on top of me. One way or another, I get up. And I've had people much bigger than Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman put together. I've had people who were giants, jump me. I've had them try to knock my head off. I've had my head swollen like a melon. I've been beaten when my foot was broken and I was unable to fucking walk. They didn't break my foot. I had already been injured beforehand. Okay, I've been in deadly situations, and I never feared for my life. Never. No matter how many times they try to slam my head against whatever, curb stomp me, or body slam me, or beat me, kick my head like it's a soccer ball with fucking cleats and boots on, whatever, you ain't gonna knock me out. Nobody's been able to knock me out. Nobody has ever come close to knocking me out. I keep getting up even though I'm leaking blood everywhere. My head, my eyes fucking swollen and all black and shut. I am still fighting back. And I've had, in one of these fights, actually, where I fought a guy that was 6'4", maybe not 250 pounds, he was probably 210, but he was still 6'4". All right, I'm 5'10". I'm not really, the odds of me beating him were not likely, but somehow I got him to back the fuck off. All right, he beat my head until it was... That was the first time that I've gotten beat so bad that my whole head was fucked up. My eye and everything. I had a bloodshot eye. A blood vessel popped in my eye and everything. I leaked blood on my white shirt. My white shirt turned brown and red. And my aunt thought I was jumped by several men. And I still fought back. And I had access to a gun. I had access to a gun and I didn't get it because I'm not a fucking bitch. Tamir Rice did not deserve to die. Because I've seen cases where white people, had guns. And the officers tried to talk him out of using the gun first and then shot him. Tamir Rice was at the park and didn't do anything at all. Yes, I understand he was holding a fucking gun, but guess what? If he was a fucking white man who was doing nothing with the gun too, nothing would have happened to the white guy. Nothing would have happened to the white guy. Me, I look a little too much like the fucking Middle Eastern to get away with that. Okay, and Tamir Rice was fucking 11 or 12. He was a kid. All right, he was a fucking kid. And he's at a park, you know. There's nobody around him. Why are you going to shoot him? He drove up to the kid and shot him. He didn't even try to turn the megaphone in the squad car on and ask him, please drop the weapon. He didn't do none of that. He just drove up and assassinated the kid because he's fucking black. That's why. That's why it happened. George Zimmerman killed Trayvon because he's black. Daniel Pantaleo killed Eric Garner because he's black. And yeah, I don't care that Eric Garner was kind of resisting a little bit. He didn't have to choke him out and crush his fucking throat. He didn't have to choke him, period. He didn't even have to arrest him. He should have just left Eric Garner alone. Eric was just trying to hustle, make his money. That cop just felt like making his life miserable. For selling packs of cigarettes on the side of the road? You're gonna fucking arrest somebody for that? Fuck you, you piece of shit pig. Fuck you. You're a disgrace to the badge. You're a disgrace to good officers. You're a disgrace to the badge. Turn it in. Then Walter Scott. That one was just bad. Walter Scott was not armed. Michael Slager gunned him down. Just because he was black. Walter Scott was not armed. And he was talking with the officer. And Walter Scott is old and out of shape. And you can see he doesn't even run fast. He turned around, tried to run away. And then Michael just went, it looks like a good reason to kill someone. And fucking killed him for running away. Just for running away. You saw the video. The guy wasn't trying. He was not a danger to the officer whatsoever. Eric Garner, Walter Scott, and Trayvon Martin. I know George Zimmerman is not a cop. But this is the same thing, okay? These men murdered black men for being black. All right? And they should be in prison. All of them. All of them should be in jail right now. In fucking prison right now. And no, not isolated confinement. They need to be in prison with the other inmates. That's where they belong. So if Timothy Loman is watching this, fuck you, you pathetic piece of shit. If George Zimmerman is watching this, fuck you, you pathetic piece of shit. Daniel Pantaleo, fuck you, you pathetic piece of shit. And fuck you, Michael Slager. Fuck all of you. And I know that if I ever meet you guys are not, it's gonna be at least 5 of you fuckers pulling me somewhere and you're gonna plant something, beat the shit out of me, kill me, and be like, oh, he was a threat. Because that's the kind of pussies you are. You'll never fight me one-on-one with just your hands. Never. You don't have the balls to do it. Especially knowing that I fucking fought people bigger than you fucking bitches. And half the time, to this day, they don't want to be around me. Even though they messed my face up the way they did, they know that I don't give up. I keep getting back up and I don't stay down. And you guys don't like that. I'm not against police officers. I'm against bad people. I'm against people who murder people for being black. Because that's what happened. That's what this was. And now we're having psychopaths, Bernie Sanders supporters, and other crazy people, and that are for some reason Nazis. Yeah, it's creeping me out how there's people murdering other people because they were harassing a Muslim, or how the guys murdering Republicans. Those guys are bad. They're all just as bad. People who murder people for having a political affiliation, or for being dark-skinned, or for being Muslim. Anyone who kills people just for being different is a fucking piece of shit. Okay, shit like that pisses me off. All right, everything was wrong. No, and no matter what kind of logic you try to spew to me, that the training procedures and this and that, you know what? No, because I have been in a situation where I've had to restrain a man, one of my uncles in Peru. He got drunk and started beating the ever-living shit out of his nephew, my cousin. So I grabbed both his arms and had him like this. He was like this. And I grabbed him like this, and it was hard. I had to pick this fucking big guy up. And this guy is huge. Huge. This guy was 6'2", 6'3", definitely at least 250 pounds. At least. Maybe 300. This guy was a big guy. And I restrained him, and I lifted him up so his feet aren't on the ground so he can't flip me over him. I lifted him up, and I had him restrained. He elbowed me in the lip. I started bleeding. And I just squeezed harder and told him, you need to stop hitting this kid now. And he stopped. If I can do your job better than you, and I'm not even trained to do it, then you're a shitty cop. You're racist. That's really what this is. So I just really wanted to make this video to make my thoughts on these murders clear. These were acts of racism. And perhaps maybe the Philando Castile thing did have something to do with his skin color, but I don't think it was the guy pulled him over and killed him for being black. I don't think it was like that. I think the guy got scared because he's black, which is racism, but it's not like he, was George Zimmerman or Michael Slager who just thought, ooh, yay, I get to kill a black guy today. Because that was their attitude about it. The Philando Castile, the guy did not seem happy that he killed a black guy. I think he felt very bad about it, and that's why I want to keep them separated. And in cases like Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, and Walter Scott, there's no room for controversial cases. These are obvious innocent victims, and the innocent victims with no controversy. And yeah, that's right. There's no controversy. They are innocent, and the people who are brainwashed into saying that George Zimmerman and all the others deserve to have the right to shoot him, you're a problem in this country. You're a cancer. You are a cancer. The world is better off without you because you're a coward. You are a coward. You're probably the same type of piece of shit that will go out and shoot deer and bears and hunting for fun. Because you use that logic, what if he was beating you up? Well, if I was stalking him for hours, then I hope he beats me up. Because that's what you're supposed to do to the guy who stalks you for hours. And then, because you're going to use that logic with the whole, you're going to be happy until a gator goes to your backyard and eats your kid. What the fuck is a gator? Why am I living in a place where a gator gets into my backyard? Why didn't I take precaution to make it so? And that's nature winning. Sorry. It's not an excuse to go hunting and killing things, not an excuse to go kill black people. You can't just kill people thinking, what if, the guy was slamming your head on the sidewalk, or he should have listened to the cop. He should have listened. He should have complied. Yeah, okay, maybe he should have complied. So what? You don't kill again. That's not worthy of death. That's never worthy of death. If I can take down people about the same size as Eric Garner without a gun, or without choking him to death, without using lethal force, and I'm not a trained officer, then these fucking cops could do it too. And so can George Zimmerman. He could have just not followed the kid. He could have just stopped stalking him. He could have taken the operator's advice and just decided, maybe I should leave this underage kid alone. Fuck you guys. Fuck anyone who disagrees with me in this. Fuck all of you. All right? All of you. Because if this had been flipped If these were black officers, and if George Zimmerman was black and these victims were white, I think you guys would have a different tune about it. Okay, because these were obvious acts of murder. It was murder, and they got away with murder. And I don't know. I wish, what can we do about it? I'm not a judge. I'm not a prosecutor. But then it's things like this that kind of make me wish I was. I wonder if they would just assassinate me for sentencing people like these for manslaughter, for murder. Because that's what they deserve. Concludes my video. Sorry that I get emotional. But this is something I had to get off my chest after making the Philando Castile videos. I wanted to make it clear what my stance are on these particular victims, and I know that they're not the only ones. I know that there are many more. Many more. We need to reform. We need to get rid of officers like these, all of them. We need to replace them.